Hey guys, Courtney Mermaid here with another mermaid tail making video. In this video I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about what goes into designing a mermaid tail and how I do it. So here you can see I actually have a design underneath. That is one of my designs that I have created. I was planning on selling it. I'm not sure if I'm still going to. But as you notice, I do design half the tail at a time because why do that to yourself? Why design? Why do something? If it's going to be a symmetrical tail, do one side and flip it over. Because I know that you guys are going to ask, I do use Photoshop. This is CS4. This is a professional grade software. I know there are other programs out there that other designers use. I can look up a few, maybe leave them in the description below. If you are also a tail designer and would like to leave some info below on other programs that you find useful, that would be awesome. Let's share the info out there for people who are just getting started, for sure. So here you can see I'm trying to decide what I'm doing. Am I adding a heel fin? Is this a side fin? I'm not sure. But I definitely keep it very rough. I do work in layers. If you work in a program that allows you to work in layers, it's very helpful to keep things on separate layers so that way you can work and not feel restricted by having to design around if you're using a pattern or other textures or something like that. So that's an important thing to keep to take into consideration there. You'll have to forgive me, I'm a little bit tongue-tied today. Yeah, I've also got a bit of a frog in my throat. I wish I'd been smart enough to grab a glass of water before I started this video, but I just kind of wanted to, I was feeling in the mood, so to jump right in here. This is going to be one of the first tails where I've decided to do a full-on texture. So my blue fishtail actually did have, or does have rather, a saddle patch design right around my dorsal fin on the back. But that was a special case. For that one, I didn't actually paint that in at all. I just left it blank. So the fabric's naturally white, so I just left it white. So for this tail, I am actually planning on making those darker lines and designs that you see, the pattern, I am actually planning on making that darker. So you can see I'm going through and picking my colors there. There's another tail that I had designed. I have actually a little storehouse of those designs. If you would like me to design you a tail, I will leave a link to my Etsy below. I do have a tail designing option up there where I work with you to design a tail that you could then use my tutorials to make yourself. That's something I'm currently offering on my Etsy store. And as you can see, this area that I'm painting off right now, that is in fact the shape of the Aquarius fin. I have a picture of one of my old tails as well as one of my fins that I have created. So these are in fact all not quite my proportions because I was, aesthetically I wanted it to look a certain way, a little more generic. But this is pretty close to what I have going on. So I've also made myself, this is something that you can think about, I've made myself a template. So what you see here is edits that I've made to a base template, and I use a tool called the pen tool, which allows me to make quick changes to the fins. You'll see here, it's what I'm using, the pen tool, just to add in. It's a faster way I find to do things. If you guys are interested in a tutorial on the pen tool, I do get asked as an artist frequently how to use this tool. It is very useful to me, so I'm happy to do a tutorial on that if you guys leave a comment below if that's something you'd be interested in. Excuse me. So I made myself this template. It allows me to make quick changes to design more than one tail at a time, and it's just a faster way of doing things, especially because I do not use a different monofin each time. So each of my tails are pretty standard with the Aquarius fin. So depending on what monofin you decide you'd like to use, make yourself a template if you're able. It's very kind of zen almost to design over top of this, and you can see. So now I'm gonna assume I'm gonna get questions on this. So Courtney, how is it updating both sides at the same time? What are you doing? So I actually use something called Smart Objects. If you guys would like more information on Photoshop and how it works, please let me know in the comments below. It is what I use professionally full-time as my actual day job, so I am fairly well versed in it. If you have questions, I'm using something called Smart Objects, which allows me to work on half of the tail while having both sides update at the same time. It sounds a lot more complicated than it is. It's really not complicated at all, but it is the kind of thing I would need to explain in a separate video because this is sped up, and I'm not actually recording this dialogue as I'm doing this, so there isn't really a way for me to to explain it to you guys. But please let me know in the comments below if it is something you're interested in. I don't know how many other mermaids out there actually use Photoshop specifically to do this, and I don't know that other programs have that same feature. Yeah, Smart Objects has got to be one of the most brilliant features of Photoshop. I use it a lot, and I'm very grateful for it. But yeah, definitely. So if you have questions on that, for sure I can do my best to answer them. So while I paint, I'm just using a simple brush tool here, nothing fancy. It's not a custom brush. This is a standard brush that comes with Photoshop, I believe. It's hard for me to tell what I'm actually using now, but I'm pretty sure it's just the regular round brush. And I just paint in and paint out, paint in and paint out, erase here, just keeping it very loose. You never really know where your design is going to take you. I do have a couple of fish patterns up on my second monitor that you can't see, unfortunately, while I'm doing this. And a couple of like tiger print patterns and things like that, just trying to get a little bit of inspiration. As with a lot of things in life, given where our technology is at these days, it is very hard to reinvent the wheel. So, though I do recommend you look up, you know, get your inspiration, look at what people are doing, you know, look at real life, get your inspiration from Mother Nature herself. After all, she is one of the greatest artists, I would say, right? But I would really strongly recommend don't go ripping off other people's work. I know that there are some people who do that. They'll take what other people have done and just, you know, small changes here and call it their own. And it's a little frustrating, right? I mean, I totally understand where people are coming from when they do that. And of course they say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? But don't be afraid, right? I find a lot of people who are in fact taking other people's designs, they are actually very talented. What they're creating is also beautiful. And it makes me sad to think that they don't trust themselves enough, or they don't feel that they could give it a go. You know, and there are a lot of people out there like myself who offer a service where we're happy to design a tail for you, so that you don't have to worry about that if you don't feel you're particularly artistic, but would still like to give it a go and have somebody else's input on your tail design. You know, there are a lot of people aside from myself that offer that service. So basically, you just need to find an artist whose style you like, pretty much, right? So there are other options out there for you. You know, this is such a beautiful thing and a beautiful community that we do. And yes, of course, there's drama. I won't get into that in this video. But it is such an opportunity to really find who you are and to express yourself. I love that, like, these are things I never would have thought I would have designed for myself. I never saw myself in my, you know, teenage years thinking, yes, you know what, I'm going to design one day a mermaid tail. I didn't even think it was possible. And now this is something that means so much to me and is such a big part of my life, and it's really special. So don't be afraid. And you know, it's hard to say. Everybody's going to have their opinions on what you do and why you're doing it. But let's face it, we're already mermaids. If that isn't enough of a reason for people to have a go at us, I don't know what is, right? So be creative and have some fun and laugh it off and enjoy the journey and the process. As I'm going to be wrapping up this video here, I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what I had to say and enjoyed the video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. You know, leave a comment. I'd love to see what you guys are up to and hear your stories about designing tails for sure. I'm really excited to get started on this one. Links to all my social media and everything are in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to check out more of these videos. Here's going to be the finished product right here. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm really excited to actually get started on this puppy. Oh, it's gonna happen. So excited. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video. Okay, bye!